In this lecture, we would like to discuss about the forms of government as already we have finished our discussion in two lectures on democracy. So, in this lecture, we would like to discuss the forms of government as it was pronounced by the ancient Greek philosopher, political philosopher Aristotle in his work Politics, where he described the very normal forms of government and also perverted forms of government. So, in brief, we can discuss that in normal forms of government, when there is rule by one person, then it would be considered as monarchy, and when it becomes perverted, then it would be tyranny. So, when there would be few ruled the state, and such a government would be considered as aristocracy, and if it is perverted, then it would be considered as oligarchy, and where many people they rule the state, such government as according to Aristotle is called polity, but when it is perverted, then it would be called as democracy, as it was presented by Aristotle in his work Politics. And regarding normal forms of government, the power always is exercised, whether it is ruled by one or by few or by many. Only it is exercised for the benefit of the common interest. But in case of perverted forms, the power was always exercised for the benefit of or interest of the ruling class, whether it is ruled by one person or by few persons or by many, and as it was presented by Aristotle regarding his classification is based on two criteria. One is the number of persons actually possessing supreme power in a state, and the second criteria, that is the purpose for which supreme power is exercised. So, by following the first criterion, that the number of persons actually possessing supreme power in a state or government are in three forms according to Aristotle, as such monarchy, aristocracy, and polity. And regarding the second criterion, where the power and for the purpose which supreme power is exercised. So, in that connection, it would be according to Aristotle, when it would be exercised for the benefit and interest of the ruling class, then according to him it is a perverted form of government or state, and it would be as styled by Aristotle as tyranny, oligarchy, and democracy. And all these are perverted forms of government. So, Aristotle's classification does not fit in with the modern situation. For instance, monarchy and tyranny are nowhere to be found today. So, only we found the traces of constitutional or limited monarchy in some countries like Brunei, Bahrain, Thailand, Japan, United Kingdom, and also in some East European countries where the monarchy is in the form of constitutional monarchy or limited monarchy. Similarly, the very word democracy has a completely different meaning for us today. If Aristotle's polity comes close to the modern conception of democracy, his democracy may now well be characterized as mobocracy. Besides, Aristotle had selected certain pure types of government, but in practice, governments contain complex structural peculiarities which hardly permit of such simple categorization. Governments may, for instance, differ in their executive systems. There may further be significant differences in the pattern of power allocation. Thus, we have today different forms of governments, such as parliamentary and presidential forms of government, or unitary and federal types of government, conforming to the structural peculiarities of governmental organization, which Aristotle was not expected to know. So, as regarding Aristotle's polities and his description of normal forms of government and perverted forms of government, and when it is ruled by one in normal form as monarchy, and when it is for a class, a ruling class, then for the interest of that ruling class, such rule by one, that is monarchy, would perverted to tyranny, and when it is by few, then the aristocracy, when it would be perverted for a particular ruling class, then it would be oligarchy. In the same way, when many people rules the state, such government according to Aristotle's polity, and when it is being perverted for only the interest and benefit of the ruling class, then it is democracy. So now, as we discuss about modern classification, we would like to discuss the views expressed by Professor Marriott and Leacock, and according to them, he found that there are three bases of classification, such as unitary and federal, rigid and flexible, monarchical, presidential, and parliamentary form of governments. Applying this test, we can say, for instance, that United States government is a federal government, and also they have a presidential form of government, and their government is rigid as regarding the constitutional amendments, and also we could say as regarding United Kingdom, the government in United Kingdom is an unitary form of government, and also It is having the parliamentary system of government, and they have also a constitutional limited monarchical form of state. So, in that connection, in the modern classification is said to be based on what Professor Willoughby calls in his Nature of the State as structural peculiarities of governmental organizations. So, accordingly, the modern classification of form of governments as we found in democracy as the very source of authority to rule is with the people. So, we could divide it as parliamentary and non-parliamentary form of government. And when it is parliamentary, it either may be federal or may be unitary. So also in case of non-parliamentary form of government, it is both federal and unitary. So in that context, we could analyze that the parliamentary form of government in United Kingdom and the parliamentary form of government in Canada and in Australia, so also in India, where in case of United Kingdom we found they have adopted a completely unitary form of government where we found constitutional concentration of power in a single central legislature. But when we go to the federal form of government under parliamentary systems like Canada, Australia, and India, we found there is constitutional division of powers among the coordinated bodies, and in such countries like Canada, Australia, and India, we found a quasi federal system where the unitary spirit is behind the government and the very form of running the government is quasi federal in nature. And when we will go to analyze non parliamentary form of governments, then it would be better to cite the example of the presidential form of government as it is followed in United States of America, where the government is completely federal in nature as per the constitutional provisions. So there is a federal distribution of powers between the union and the units of United States of America, and also the very constitution is very rigid as it could not be amended by simple majority or by absolute majority, as because the very amendment of the constitution requires the ratification by two-thirds of the units of the United States of America. So, in case of the parliamentary form of governments as regarding unitary and quasi-federal, we found the amending procedure followed in such forms could be considered as quasi-federal in nature, as because, for example, in India, the constitution could be amended by a special majority of two-thirds members present and voting in the parliament, and in case of any substantial amendment to the Constitution, there is the need of ratification of only one half of the states of the Indian Union. So, in that connection, we could say the very amending procedure in connection to India, Canada, and Australia are flexible in nature. And now we'll discuss about the governments in the then Union of Soviet Socialist Republics and at present in the Republic of China. So, where we found the very institution of state and government is completely under the control of the Communist Party of Soviet Union up to the dismantling of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic under the late President Mikhail Gorbachev in 1990. So, before 1990 and after the establishment of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic, after the Bolshevik Revolution in 1918 by Vladimir Lenin was a completely government of unitary in spirit, also unitary in form, and the very government of Union of Soviet Socialist Republic was completely under the control of the Communist Party of Soviet Union. So also, at present, if you will analyze the government of the Republic of China, the government is completely under the control of the Communist Party of China. So, there also we found an unitary spirit and also unitary in practice of the government, as because the Republic of China is under the control of the Communist Party of China. So, we have analyzed the very different forms of government as running at present in different countries in the world. So also, we have analyzed the very forms of government that at present running in China and the previous the then Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. And in our next upcoming lecture, we would like to discuss another most important legal and political concept, and that is dictatorship.